It's not what you finished this year that teaches you the most. It's what you didn't. Hey, y'all. Welcome to MINDSHiFT Monday, where we shift the way that we think so that we can shift the way that we live. I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. And today we're digging into something real. Oh, yeah, the leftovers. I know you just finished your Thanksgiving meal, but we're digging into the leftovers, the unfinished projects, the goals that you started but you didn't complete, the ideas that got cold. Yeah, all of those things. Let's talk about what those things reveal about you. What's up, my people? Kendra Dodd, so good to see you on Instagram. Doreen Hines, yes, selling homes every day. AZ, okay. Aziza, let me make sure I'm getting this stuff right. Oh, yeah, the community mediator. Oh, yeah, what's the word for today? The word for today is leftovers, people. Yes, if you have not gotten the notification and you want to join us live, you want to know when we're live, text live to 240-557-8679. Join the list, know when we're live so you don't have to guess at it. And then after the show, join us for the level up at 8 a.m. Join us at mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. All right, join us. We are ready for today. I'm getting ready to rock and roll. Are you? Come on, let's do this thing together. Let's do it. Yes. We are here. We are in the space. We are in the place. I'm so glad that you're here. Ramon Ray. Oh, yeah. Let's do it, brother. I was going to call you a boy. I don't think that's appropriate. Yeah. Let's do it, brother. Twyla Grigsby. So glad that y'all are here this morning. Felicia. Yes. So glad that you're here. Jessica. So glad you're here this morning. Nice. Excellent. Thank you for joining us on LinkedIn, on Substack, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And for my Facebook people, what's up? How you doing this morning? So glad that y'all are here in the space, in the place, looking at my face, or at least the side of my head right now. There we go. Woo. Oh, yeah. So here we go. We start out the year with good intentions, don't we? I don't know about y'all. I start out with good intentions, a buffet of goals, dreams, intentions. And then by December, some of them are still sitting there, untouched, cold, half finished. But here's what we want to talk about today. I'm not here to judge you about what is not finished. We're here to chat about what you can learn from them, because what you didn't finish often reveals more about your patterns, your capacity, your fears, or your habits than what you did finish. How about that? Let's do the positive spin on that this morning. So recently I was cleaning out the storage area in my basement, and I found a lot of gems. I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, or maybe I'm nesting or whatever it is. I don't know. But I was cleaning out the storage area in my basement, and I found a lot of gems. I found a lot of pictures that I hadn't seen in years. I found a box. Check this out. A box of old bills. I think they were paid. I believe they were. I found a box of old bills. I found old business paperwork from my first attempt at registering a business more than 20 years ago. Right? I found old music from songs that I'd written when I was being romantic for my wife. I'd written quite a few different things, but what I found that was most interesting for me was a notebook with a list of goals that I'd written. Yeah. Some were accomplished, but quite a few of them were not. And I remember the moment. You ever find something and it transports you back to the moment when that thing was created? I remember writing those goals, right? I remember being excited and passionate about them. But somewhere along the way, some of these goals just fell off. Some of them were financial goals. Some of them were business goals. Some were health goals. Yeah, am I the only one? Have y'all ever found goals? Have you ever found something that you wrote or that you intended to accomplish, but then you didn't? Now you're sitting here with this documentation of your failure. You're sitting here, and I'm like, I found myself asking questions. Why didn't I pursue these? And as I asked myself that question, and I dug inside a little bit deeper, I found myself feeling a little guilty. I found myself feeling a little judgy. I found myself scolding myself a bit because I gave up on these goals, or I let them fall. And I even felt a moment of, how dare you dream so big in the first place? Why did I think that I could accomplish that goal in that time frame? Yeah, all these thoughts floating through my brain. And the further back I thought, I realized that some of those goals, I'd given up on them because I didn't feel like I was making the required progress in the required time frame. For example, if the goal was to make 100K this year and I hadn't reached 50K by July, I let the goal go and I didn't push as hard. And I began to wonder, like, what was that about? What was that about? Is it just me? I mean, if you have experienced this, if you've walked through this, or maybe you're still walking through this today, just type me in the comments. Let me know that I'm not on my own here, people. Let me know that I'm not the only silly folk out in this place, right? I began to wonder what that was about, and there were other goals that I looked at this as I looked at this notebook that I remember being excited about, but I just didn't do them. I put them on the calendar, but for some reason I kept delaying on them. I remember putting on my goal list that I would do a series of public workshops for a year, one every month. And I remember putting the dates on my calendar, and then I sent out the invites. And I only got 1 or 2 signups. So I canceled the workshop. And then for one reason or another, I deprioritized the others. They were on my calendar, ready to go. But once I had the experience with the first one and I canceled it, I deprioritized the others. I got a speaking gig, or my child had a school thing, or I didn't have time to promote. Everything seemed to get in the way. Now, was it everything, or was it me? Now, as I dug into this, I looked at patterns of the times where I had delayed or deprioritized or rationalized, and I recognized that in many of those cases, I want you to get this. I recognize that in many of those cases, I had placed feeling successful in the process of the goal over doing everything possible to complete the goal. Woo! I want you to get that. I had prioritized the feeling of progress over the doing of the process. I want you to hear that. I want that to sink in. Have you ever created a goal, and as you looked at your goal during the process, because you didn't feel like you were making enough progress, you postponed or put off or delayed the goal. I prioritize the feeling of progress over the doing of the process. For example, someone says they want to lose weight in 3 months, but in month 2, they don't see the weight disappearing, so they stop doing the work with the same intensity. Or at work, you're pushing on a project, but halfway through, you haven't reached the halfway mark, and your teammates aren't pulling as hard, so you pull back as well. What is that teaching you about you? What is that teaching you about you? Your procrastination is a professor. I want you to pay attention to what your delay or your procrastination is teaching you. Anything that you avoid is trying to reveal something. There's data in that. As you look back at your goals and you look at why you didn't push as hard on some stuff, ask yourself the question, what is it that I'm trying to hide from, or what is getting in the way? Right? People assume that incompletion equals laziness or the lack of discipline. But it's deeper than that. It's the fear of doing it wrong. It's the fear of being seen. It's the overwhelm. It's the misalignment with values. It's the goal wasn't really yours. It belonged to someone else's expectations. Or maybe you outgrew the goal or the desire. You were at a certain space. When you're at that place, you say, okay, yep, I want to do this. But during the process, you outgrow it, but you never updated the goal. That happens. What else? Perfectionism, disguised as planning. Oh, analysis paralysis. Yep, we got to do it. We got to get this resource. We got to get this tool. I got to get this. We put all of this stuff in place so we never launch or we never finish because we're really undercover perfectionists. I'm not ready or we're not ready is often, I'm afraid of what this will expose. That's what's the underneath. Yeah. We're moving. I'm hoping that this is either revealing or resonating this morning. I hope that you're seeing yourself in some of this and understanding that it's not about blame, it's not about judgment, it's about learning. James Clear wrote this book called Atomic Habits. And in Atomic Habits, he synthesizes this really well, right? He says that when a habit doesn't stick, it's not because you're weak, it's because your identity hasn't aligned with that behavior yet. And he says that incomplete habits reveal identity, not failure. And so he teaches that every habit is a vote for the type of person you believe yourself to be. When you don't follow through, when you don't complete repeatedly, it's often because the habit is in conflict with how you currently see yourself, or the habit is tied to a goal that you don't fully care about, or you're adopting somebody else's standard rather than your own. For example, you say that you want to journal every morning, but deep down, you don't see yourself as a reflective person. Or let's take it into Robert's area here, right? You want to record 3 videos a week, but you still see yourself as somebody who isn't great on camera. Who am I talking to? Who am I talking to here? How you see yourself affects what you act on. Your identity will win over your intention. So what do you do about that? Instead of working first on what you want to do, work first on who you want to become. James Clear also says that incomplete habits expose points of friction. He talks about how habits fail where friction lives, right? If it's too complicated, it may be too big, it may be too vague, it may be too far from who you believe yourself to be. It may be too disconnected from your current season. Those are reasons for failure in some of your habits. So when you reach a place where you identify that you failed at something, instead of saying, I quit, the real question is, what friction made this habit impossible to sustain? What does that teach you about your workflow, your mindset, or your capacity? Because you see, when we fail at something or we don't complete something, we immediately judge ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with taking assessment or evaluation of it, but judging for it in the sense of whipping yourself or beating yourself up for not reaching the goal, that's not where we want to be. We want to say, okay, I didn't reach that, or I didn't complete that. I wasn't successful at that. What needs to change? What friction exists that made this impossible to sustain? Where do I need to change my workflow? Where do I need to upgrade or update my mindset? Where do I need to increase capacity? Third thing that James Clear says, he says that incomplete goals signal misalignment. He argues that habits fail more from misalignment than from laziness. So for you who are beating yourself up about being lazy, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy. Oh my gosh, if the goal is still sitting on your plate at the end of the year, it may mean that you wanted the outcome, but the process was misaligned with how you operate. You wanted the identity, but the sacrifice was misaligned with how you operate. You set the goal based on pressure on everybody else, but not on purpose. Or you didn't update it. James Clear says it this way: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I'll add this: sometimes you also fall to the level of your self-image. Yeah. So what you don't finish shows where you're not aligned and not where you're capable, right? And so your leftovers, the things that you don't complete, that's where your lessons are. That's where your lessons are. So as we do every week, we offer some transformation inside of this. I want you to commit some actions so you can move forward. So here's what I'd like for you to do. We're just coming out of a Thanksgiving season where we all have leftovers that we pick on for a day or two or something like that. Here's what I want you to do with your goals. I want you to discover the leftover. I want you to discover the leftover. Pick one goal from the beginning of this year that is unfinished and write it down. Write it down. And as you have written it down, write down also, what emotion do I feel when I think about completing this? Am I excited? Am I hesitant? Am I, oh no, I can't do this? What do I feel? What do I feel? It's important to do this because sometimes we leave things unfinished, we leave them incomplete, and we don't assess what's underneath that. And so when we don't assess what's underneath that, we're doomed to repeat the same lesson again, or repeat the same thing again. All right. So pick one unfinished goal and write down, what emotion do I feel when I think about completing this? Number two, I want you to decode the lesson inside of that. Decode the lesson. Ask yourself, what is this unfinished goal teaching me about my patterns, my fears, or my priorities? If you heard me say earlier, I didn't finish something, and when I didn't finish it, I deprioritized some stuff. So if I was able to quickly deprioritize something, how important was it in the first place? What was in alignment? What am I so passionate about that I'm willing to move heaven and earth in order to get to it? What is it that I want so bad? What do I want to finish so much that I will do anything to get to it? And the reality is sometimes we set goals because they sound good. Oh, I want to make $1 million. It sounds good. Oh, I want to get a Tesla. Oh, it sounds good. But what is it about my patterns, my fears, or my priorities that is in alignment or misalignment with that goal? And if you've gone through that, decode the lesson. What is the lesson that you're learning from this? Don't just push it away. Figure out what the lesson is. And then number 3 thing. So discover the leftover. Discover the thing that is unfinished, incomplete. Decode the lesson in it. And then the third thing that I want you to look at is decide whether you will finish this or release it. Yes, not everything needs to be finished. Here is why. Because some goals, some habits, some ideas are out of alignment with your growth. You have grown past that idea, and it's okay to release that idea. How many of us are still chasing something that we've grown past? Not everything needs to be carried into the new year. Some leftovers are meant to be reheated, and others need to go into the trash. Some leftovers are meant to be reheated, and others are meant to go into the trash. Listen, y'all, we are going to jump into the after show, the level up right after this, and I want to give those people that are on there a chance to do a leftover audit, deciding what stays and what goes. So if you want to join us for the level up after, make sure that you join us. MINDShiftMonday.com/Zoom. MINDShiftMonday.com/Zoom. Here's the deal, people. Your unfinished goals are not reminders of failure. They are invitations to clarity. Don't drag your leftovers into a new year that deserves fresh ingredients. In chapter 2 of Atomic Habits, James Clear says, every action that you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. If I say that a little bit differently, every action that you take and every action that you avoid is a vote for the type of person that you are becoming. Your leftovers are not failures. They're information about who you are and who you're ready to become next. Now, just because you avoid something doesn't mean you're bad. But it is information, and it's up to you to decide who you want to be and who you want to become. You get to decode that information. Listen, y'all, if you love the messages that we share each week and you want to know when we're live, or you want to get a reminder when we're live, text live to 240-557-8769. Lastly, don't forget to join us in the after show. To talk more about this topic, head on over to MINDShiftMonday.com/Zoom. Until next time, people, honor your lessons, release your leftovers, and keep shifting your mindset so that you can shift your life. Or, as I always say, change your thoughts, change your world, change your story. Let's get this music playing again and then get on out of here. You ready? Let's do it. Come on. Woo! Join me in the after show. MINDShiftMonday.com/Zoom. I'll see you soon.